Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me and Danielle. She will tell us who she is and what she does in a moment. But first, please let me remind you to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, thedivorcemagazine.co.uk. We have loads of videos on there and we have new videos coming on all the time. So just to keep you up to date with what is going on, do subscribe. And today we have, my name is Soila. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Soila. I'm the founder and editor of thedivorcemagazine.co.uk. That's what I do most of the time. And I have my other job, which I have been doing for quite a while now, which is working with children and families who are going through divorce as a child therapist. I've been working with children and families for quite a while. So if you're struggling with any part of your child's well-being at the moment as you're going through divorce or have been through divorce, do contact me and we can see what we can do to help. You can contact me via Soila at thedivorcemagazine.co.uk. So today we have Danielle, and welcome Danielle. Please do tell us who you are.
Hello, Soila. My name is Danielle Barbero. I'm actually French originally, but I have been in the UK for over 35 years. I have two children. Initially, I was in the university sector, but I retrained in coaching about 6 years ago because I was really interested in supporting people emotionally. And most of my work now, in fact, pretty much all of my work is about helping people who are going through painful divorces and separations. And my clients are normally referred to me by family solicitors. And these solicitors realize that their clients are struggling. Sometimes they're not able to cope with the divorce process, and they need support. This is especially true if they have been left by a partner. They are much more vulnerable. And my work, I consider that I'm a coach, not a counselor, although I'm trained for both. But the difference for me is coaching is extremely impactful. So I get clients at that stage when they are struggling, and my work is to help them to get better as quickly as possible. And it's a process that I don't drag on at all.
Okay. And I think most of you, my sound is playing up today, but I think if you're watching this as opposed to listening to it on audio, you will notice that there is some kind of time delay. So excuse that, and if it's really not working for you watching and with that time delay, just switch on for the audio version, and then you can hear it, because I think Danielle has got some really important stuff that she wants to tell us, and you might want to hear this actually. So Danielle, thank you so much for the introduction. And one of the things that I liked what you said is that most of your clients come from divorce solicitors, because I'm just happy to hear that there's some kind of collaboration between divorce coaches and divorce solicitors, because we've had this huge discussion about the role that divorce solicitors play in the post-divorce life of children and couples, and how they can make sure that they are all right, as opposed to just winning a case. So I'm happy to hear there are more divorce solicitors getting onto the ball of making sure that families, although not together, but they are being looked after by people such as yourself.
Absolutely. I think the family solicitors in particular, I find, are quite enlightened, and they really want the best for their clients. I rarely get work from solicitors who will try to have a very adversarial solution. Most of the solicitors I work with are trying to, minimize the negative impact of the divorce. And I have found them, it helps them as well, because a lot of them tell me that their clients cry all the time, and obviously it costs a lot of money to cry in a solicitor's office. So they see me as that support, which really, really helps. And it is true, if I can deal with the emotional stuff, then the solicitors can get on with the legalities of the divorce.
Okay. Now, Danielle, one of the questions that I have had come through thedivorcemagazine.co.uk, or people searching, is, should I get a divorce? Now, I'm suspecting that this is not the first time you've heard that question, And if somebody came up to you, should I divorce my wife? Should I divorce my husband? Or should I get a divorce? What would you say to them?
Well, that's a very important question. And in fact, I would say that the main part of my work is to help clients get clarity. And you're right, there is a final aspect to divorce. You have to be absolutely sure that it is what you want. And when clients approach me with that, when they are unsure, when they realize things are very bad, but are they bad enough, or is there anything they could try? It's really interesting to work at that and help them get clarity. In which case, I often work with both parties. Okay. Whereas when there is a divorce, I only work with one party. Sometimes, like this afternoon, for example, I'm seeing a client. She wanted to see me on her own. She wanted to get divorced. But actually, as we were speaking, she realized that she wanted me to speak with her husband as well. Then I tend to see clients differently, separately initially, because I need to really understand these things. And then I try to build on what I see is common, and that there is, I will never ever try to push a couple to stay together if they shouldn't. You know, if I feel it's the proverbial, flogging the dead horse, I'm not going to try and push that. But I'm just going to ask questions to make them see whether they feel there is still some mileage in rescuing that. And if there is, if we find common ground, then I will help them to change bad habits, because often it is what has happened. For example, their arguments are extremely destructive and personal, so I can help them to change bad habits, and also to see what they are prepared to do, and in exchange what they would want their partner to do in order to rescue the divorce, the marriage. But sometimes there's absolutely no point, and then I think the kindest thing to say is to say enough, and you need to look at it differently. But I think it's very important to take that step, to think about, should we or should we not?
Okay. What kind of questions would you pose somebody to get them to actually reflect on whether they're making the right decision? I don't know if that question makes sense.
Yes, it certainly makes sense. Just at the top of my head is a little bit difficult because I tend to take my cue from what people say to me. But I'm really trying to establish whether there is still respect, love, anything which can work there. So I tend maybe to make them see what is right, and in the couple still, if they still have these feelings for their partner. I'm sorry, at the moment, at the top of my head, I cannot think of the questions, and I'm sure they will come to me this afternoon when I meet them, because I'm thinking of what the clients say. I don't have a prepared script as such.
Yeah. Okay. And right at the beginning of the interview, you mentioned that most of your clients, if not all of them, are those who have been left by their partners. And we are coming up to January. And if you're watching this in January, we did this in December, but we are coming up to January, and January is known as January Jilt. It's the month where solicitors get a lot more inquiries to do with divorce. What for somebody who's considering divorce right now, or who's just at the beginning of the process, and it's their partner who's leaving them, what should they expect? What does divorce does to you? What does it do to you?
I think you're absolutely right. Initiating a divorce, deciding you are going to terminate a relationship, and being at the receiving end of that. And what I find is actually really difficult for a lot of my clients. First, they may never have seen any sign about it.
Wow.
They may realize that actually their partner had prepared an exit for a very long time. They may never get the truth about the reason why there is a divorce. In fact, some of them never get an explanation at all. I've had clients come back from work to find a removal van on the driveway, and their partner leaving without any form of explanation. often also the explanations are false ones. For example, there is no mention that there might be another party. And all that is very, very cruel when you're at the receiving end of that. Because when you've been with somebody, especially when you've been with somebody for a long time, at the very least, you deserve the respect of an explanation. Yeah. And often you're not going to get it. So not only for these clients, their life is collapsing, they do not remember what it's like not to be married, but on top of that, they are dealing with feelings of humiliation, of jealousy towards maybe another partner. It's extremely complex and extremely hurtful. And a lot of my work then is to help them get some control back in their life, because they feel that everybody else is calling the shot. The former partner, maybe with a new partner, solicitors, everybody else is telling them what to do, and they feel that life is running and they don't know what is happening. Some of them are being told to initiate the divorce when they don't want to do that at all. So really the first thing is to speak to a solicitor at the very least to find out where they stand legally, because sometimes the partner who leaves is extremely unfair and saying you'll get nothing more. That is never the case. Yeah. So first of all, it's very important to be informed about what they are entitled to, and that might help. But my part of the work is to help them get control back and to give them tools to cope with the pain, with the hurts, and to help them along the way with that. Okay. And what is encouraging for me is that I know that when I see clients a year down the line or a little bit more, invariably, all of them, without exception, tell me that actually this huge thing happening was the best thing which could possibly happen. Yeah. The dug inside of them to find the strength that they simply didn't know they had. And when they put that in good use, as opposed to wasting their energy being jealous, for example, it's amazing what happens. And I help them do that.
So, I mean, what you said there, all of that is just so important. If I was the one on the receiving end where somebody was leaving, just hearing you acknowledge the process is going to be difficult for me, and you know, the hurtfulness of it all, can help ease my feelings and make me think, oh God, thank goodness I'm normal with the way that I'm feeling and reacting. Now, if
sorry, so there's absolutely the essential part. The first part is they have to be heard. You know, they have to tell this story, and they realize actually, as you say, that they are normal. They are not the only ones who are going through that, although they think that they are, and they are embarrassed. But it's totally essential for them to be heard. And then from there, I help them build. But as you say, pain is so severe. You know, clients described to me that they felt like, you know, they'd been punched in the stomach, or they became ice cold. I remember somebody walking in my office, clutching a hot water bottle because she said she was so cold. She was in shock. Do you really have to help these people?
Yeah. So I come to you. I'm in that situation. And you've said to me, first thing I need to do is to go and see a solicitor, which I have done now.
Yes.
What other coping tools, you know, can you give in general? I mean, I'm sure every case has got its own story and its own way of being dealt with. But in general, what coping tools would you give a woman or a man whose partner has just left them?
Yes, they are tools. And actually, I'm pleased that you say woman or man, because my clients are both women and men. Mm-hmm. I thought initially I might get more women who had been left by their partners, but then I quickly realized that women are friends, and that makes it easier for them to tell their story. Although friends cannot challenge like I can challenge, I do have to do that sometimes when people are stuck in something which is not helpful. So I help them with that. Men often have nobody to speak to, and they really, really need the support. But bizarrely, or not bizarrely, the tools are pretty much the same. And it's to try to make that person who is so huge in your life and who's done that huge bombshell, to bring them down to size a little bit. And it's not because they say something that makes it true. For example, if they say, well, you were a bad wife or a bad husband, that doesn't normally make it true. So there's a lot of work on making them understand what has happened and their part in it, if there was a part. But really often they are being accused of all sorts, and that's not helpful. I have very, very practical things that I ask them to do at the very beginning, like, for example, not contacting their partner by phone, email, text, or whatever, because that shows a neediness, which actually is very unhelpful. And I have noticed that when my clients manage not to express that they are needy, often it changes the dynamic. And suddenly, they take some real control back. My first ever client was left without any sort of explanation, was an absolute wreck. I remember she said to me, I had a good marriage and he left. And I thought that was an interesting sentence. I had to dig into this. And very quickly she realized that no, it wasn't a good marriage. Because I was saying, when is the last time, for example, that he praised you in public, or that he gave you a hug, or that he made you feel good about something? And she couldn't remember. Well, that is not a good marriage. When she realized that, she was able to do something about it. I also say very practical things like, change their name in your phone. Sometimes just putting do not answer or text. It's just that little, second to help you. And it's little tips like this. And there are techniques I use which are very helpful to people. But I realize that they are pretty constant. Whether the clients are men or women. My clients are mainly in their 40s, 50s and above, but not exclusively.
Okay. Gosh, Danielle, that it's really interesting, and I know that that whole process, the divorce process from the beginning, is very different for the person who's been left and the one who's leaving. Because I think a lot of the times the one who's leaving already knows he or she is leaving before, so there's steps ahead of the other one.
Absolutely. That's exactly what is happening. And actually the one leaving doesn't really understand why the other partner is not getting what is happening at all. It's really quite interesting. So there's a big difference in making a decision to leave and being left. But bizarrely, once I have worked with clients and I see them a year down the line, they do better than their partner who has left.
Really?
That's not the interesting one. Because they've had to dig very, very deep inside them. And the other one, something quite small, or for somebody else. And very often that doesn't work. So it's quite interesting to see that down the line, there's a completely different dynamic in the couple.
Yeah, so you've written a book, Danielle.
I've written a book called After the Split. I'm just showing there. I don't know whether that works. After the Split, it's exactly that. It's how to cope with the immediate aftermath of being left by somebody. So first of all, there's the acknowledgement of how it feels, the kind of excuses that people are being given. And then I start working on techniques and help to help people out of this immediately and to prepare for the future as well. And I've written this because my clients were asking me to put things in writing, things that I was saying, and this has just come out on the market. And what is interesting, it's a bit scary to write a book. You don't know how it's going to be received. But actually the readers have told me that it has really helped them. It vindicated how they felt. That's important. And then there is these tips and techniques to have stories also, little snippets of previous clients to show that people are not on their own. And when I use an example of a client, it's to show, first of all, that there's a normality there. It happens to many people. But also, I can analyze that and say, this is what happened because, and what should you be doing instead? And so the book is extremely positive. I use the word instead a lot to give help to people.
Oh, fantastic. And where can people get it, Danielle?
At the moment, it is available on my website, which is danielleb.co.uk. But over Christmas, I will have time to put it as well on Amazon and on other sources like this. Okay. But at the moment, from my website.
So it's Danielle, DANIELLE.B.com.
DanielleB.co.uk. DanielleB.co.uk.
Okay, DanielleB.co.uk. Okay, all right. So people can get in touch with you via that website.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Your time and the advice that you've given, and I think the acknowledgement that you're giving a lot of people. The fact that they're hurting and they have a right to be hurting is really already very helpful.
Thank you very much, Soila. That was lovely to speak.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the interview with Danielle. I'm sorry about the time delay. We tried to fix it, but it didn't happen. There's an audio version, so you can go for that too if you would like. The audio version won't be on YouTube. It will be on the website, www.thedivorcemagazine.co.uk. So please go there and you'll find the audio version. And Danielle has told you how you can get in touch with her. Don't forget to subscribe at the YouTube channel, The Divorce Magazine. So just subscribe and join the rest of the gang. Thank you. Take care, Danielle. Bye-bye.